Good morning, it's a brew day at Wheatlow Brewery. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something pretty special. We're going to be doing a traditional Burtonish English style IPA, and we're going to be using a heritage malt to make it with, and then we're going to ferment it on the Union set. So it should be very interesting. Stick with us, we'll talk about the recipe, we'll brew it, and then we'll taste it at the end. This is a recipe that I've come up with, and it's called Paddington. And what we're aiming for is a traditional English IPA around 5.3%, something like that, with reasonably high hoppiness, about 55 IBUs, and a really robust malty flavour and English hops as well. But we want to use a special heritage malt called Chevalier. And Chevalier was actually the number one malt, I think, from about 1820 to 1920. So it's absolutely most likely what would have been used in the heyday of the Union set, Chevalier. And it's an old-fashioned variety that isn't really grown much anymore. But it is still available from crisp. And it doesn't extract perhaps as well as modern malts, but and it doesn't probably grow or yield as well for farmers as modern malts, which is probably why it got phased out. But what it does do is it puts the, I think crisp used the expression, it turns the malt flavours up to 11. But crucially, what we're looking for in this beer is marmalade flavours. Now, it's said that Chevalier gives you marmalade flavours, and we're going to combine this in the hopping side by using East Kent Goldings and Challenger, both of which are said to give you marmalade flavours. So without using any marmalade, of course, we're hoping to get a Marmalade-bomb of an English IPA. So really excited to see if that works out. Really excited to see what the Union set will do to this beer, and just generally looking forward to this rather interesting brew day. Now, the recipe has changed this morning due to shortages and substitutions. I've had to just change it a bit. So what I wanted to do was this, which is Marisotta at 49%, Chevalier at 39%, and then about 6% amber, 6% crystal 150 or 60 lobby band. But what I've ended up doing, due to using up what I've got, stroke not having what I need, is 38% Chevalier, and then some low colour Marisotta at 28%, and some Halcyon pale malt at 22.6%. Same 5.7 on crystal 150, and then there's a bit short of amber, so I've got 3.2% amber and 2.5% Munich malt to top that up. I don't really like changing the recipe like that the last minute due to bad procurement, but I'm not too concerned about it because these malts needed using up, and the stars of the show, which is the Chevalier and the English hops, the EKG and Challenger, remain unaffected. So I think we're going to be fine. We're going to ferment this with SO4. You could use any similar yeast like that, and we expect that to go off like a rocket, and we'll get it into the Union set. This beer also has a large dry hop. I am considering doing the dry hop in the Union set, which may or may not be a good idea. I don't normally go for dry hopping during active fermentation, normally do it at the end. But English hops are more delicate, aren't they? So perhaps we can get away with that, and or it may develop them. I'm not sure. I'm going to think about that and maybe read some stuff during the brew day and decide what to do. So for the hopping of this beer, we're going for it. For the 60-minute editions, we're going for 26 IBUs of Challenger, 17.6 of EKG, East Kent Goldings, and then at the end of the boil, we're going to pop in another 100 grams, which is 3.2 IBU, and then we're doing a whirlpool as well, 200 grams of each, which is 5 IBUs of Challenger, 2.5 EKG, and then a similar amount for dry hop, 200 grams of each, which is approximately 3 grams per litre. So we hope that this gets the marmalade going, and in the meantime we'll get the mash going. And of course that's why this beer is going to be called Paddington, because of the segue from marmalade to bears. And I have brewed it before. In fact, it's actually on the bar behind me, and I might give you might show it to you in a bit. In fact, shall I go and pour one now? Right, so that is a pint of Paddington version 1. So similar idea, but less Chevalier as a percentage in this one. You can smell those biscuity malts on top of the head there, and it's a beautiful sort of bass-like colour, nice and clear. But although you can taste a bit of marmalade, I think it's got a couple of areas where we can improve it. First of all, I wasn't happy with the yeast, which was K97. I read somewhere that it's that K97 gives a marmalady flavour, and it's a classic example of don't just read something because you're looking for it and find it in a homebrew forum and think it's gospel. I wasn't particularly pleased with the K97 for this, and indeed for Kolsch, which is what it's supposed to be for. But anyway, so I didn't think we were getting much from the yeast, whereas SO4 this time will give us more fruitiness and hopefully help to bring that marmalade flavour out. I'm going to up the Chevalier considerably, I think, to double what we had in here. Some people are worried about Chevalier, saying it doesn't extract very well, so you have to use it in only a small percentage, or that the flavour becomes too strong. This is also too strong, not for everyone of course, but it is strong in alcohol. It's 5.9. It terrifies the neighbours that come in, to the extent where they'll either go another way when they've got to drive past, or look the other way as they're driving past in case I catch their eye and they feel obliged to come in when this beer's on. So I'm going to just lower that a little bit to around from 5.9 to about 5.3 to see if we can just make that a little bit more approachable at the bar. The other thing about Chevalier is I have read that maybe it's better to do a Hotchkiss mash, which is a simplified step mash where you have an alpha amylase and a beta amylase phase. So something like 62 at the start of the mash for say half an hour, and then up to sort of 70, 71 for the beta rest. But then I've just had a look at Crisp's data sheet for this beer, and it says do a single temperature mash, but do it for a bit longer. So I've gone for that method rather than messing around with the temperatures. So I'll do it for an hour and a half instead of an hour to try and get a good extraction. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this beer turns out. I actually think this is quite nice, but I think we can improve it. But it's 8 in the morning, so I'm not going to drink it now. But I just wanted to show you what we're aiming for. Right, time to check the pH. I expect it'll be high because of the bicarbon chalk that are in the water salts. So just going to cool it down and see what it ends up as. Although the darker malts will lower it a bit as well. It says 5.3 now, but we'll just see what it says. 5.4 when we cooled it. pH is 5.8, so I'm going to add 57 ml of lactic acid. Quite a lot, but it's a big old grain bill. I expect that to bring it down to 5.3, a little bit higher than the normal 5.2 that I do because it's a bit of a more of a darker beer. So I'll whip that in now. Right, so I've got all my hops ready. Quite a reasonable addition of EKG and Challenger. And for the initial addition, a little bit in the last 10 minutes with the Proto-Flock. And then at the end, sticking whole leaf where we've got hops in. And a few pellets to make up my shortage of EKG. So Challenger and EKG at all stages except for the last 10 minutes, which is just EKG. So I'm going to put these in now as first wort hops. So come with me and we'll do that now. So yeah, I'm going to stick them straight in now. Right, already at the end of the boil, and this is my last 10-minute addition, Proto-Flock and 100 grams of EKG. So I'll whip them in now. Beautiful hot break here at the end of the boil. So the hot break is how we describe it when all the proteins sort of clump together and form these separate particles that can then sink to the bottom, leaving clear beer or clear wort. And that looks pretty perfect. You can sort of, as the steam clears, you can see it all swirling around in there. Looks great. Pulling it down to 90 degrees for this whirlpool. I know we often do whirlpools at 80, but I think with 90 we can get a little bit more of the more robust bitterness out of them, but in a delicate way from the leaf hops. So that's what I'm going to try at 90, and it's about there now, so I'm going to pop them straight in. Right, brew day's done. Time to pitch the yeast. We've got it in the uni tank here. As usual, we'll put it in there for the first sort of 12 to 24 hours, and we'll put it into the union set once the fermentation's kicked off. So I'll get this yeast in now, and then see you in a day. This is what goes in the top of the cask. So these pink bits are glycol coolant, and this loop is just a loop of 3/8 pipe that goes inside the cask, and the coolant goes around it and keeps the temperature right. And this, of course, is the swan neck. But it takes ages to put it all together. I have to drill these to exactly 9.53, is it, for 3/8 mil and 15 mil for the main pipe. And then you have to sanitize it all. I nearly forgot. Assemble it all, force it through the tightest of gaps. There's no tolerance, it's just the same size as the pipe, so that it's a tight fit, so the union set works. Anyway, we've just about got it together, so what I need to do now is sanitize my pump and pump the beer from the uni tank into the union set. So I'm pumping it in through here. It'll just naturally fill the first cask first. I need to tap down actually my little wooden bungs, so I need to go find a piece of wood. And this is typical here, look, it's just leaking out of this spung. So what I need to do is hammer that down. Right, getting quite full now, getting frothy, almost overflowing. Lovely rocky carousing here in the feeder tank. It's just a little bit left in the uni tank, but the union set is constantly frothing up. So I've probably left this one in the uni tank a little bit too long. It's too far frothy, even though I've kept it cool because I knew it would be a bit longer. I've kept it at 16.5 degrees. So when I put this valve on, it'll come out the spouts up here, and this tank will get too full. So then I have to switch it off. It's very nearly finished. It's just a question of being patient and topping it up, switching it off, letting the froth go down, and then topping it up again. It really is a labour of love when you're working with the union set. But is that or is that not froth? I mean, it's not just froth, is it? It's froth. Look at that. It's like the Alps. Hills of yeasty goodness with brown twisty bits on the peaks. Ooh, got a leak there. I need to sort that out. Now, what might that be? Okay, I'll have a look at that in a minute. But look at the froth. Just a few hours later, the union set has settled down and it's frothing away on its own accord as fermentation pushes the yeasty froth up the spouts and into the top trays, forming this beautiful carousing which smells absolutely amazing for yeasty breadiness. And this is a view I just never get tired of, looking at the union set in full froth on day one, because it's absolutely mesmerising. It's sort of relaxing and just fascinating to see open fermentation frothing away so serenely like this. The Paddington behind me and the union set is just a few points off final gravity, so I'm transferring it from the union set to a uni tank, and I'm going to do the dry hop in the uni tank. I'll just start taking it apart now, ready for cleaning, and I have to take all this top bit off so that I can tilt the cask to get everything out of them. So I've turned this tap off so nothing that the last bit in the top tray and the feeder tray won't go down into it. I'm not harvesting the yeast this time because it's just SO4 and I've got plenty of that to do pitch and ditch, but if it was a WLP liquid yeast like a Burton WLP 23, is it? Something like that, then I might save it because it's a good harvest in the top. Pretty ordinary at the moment, like a good sort of strongish bitter, but once we add the dry hop, hopefully that's when it'll come alive a bit. Right, just going to add the dry hop to the Paddington. I've dumped the cone 2 days in a row, and just going to bleed the tank, open the lid, and add this dry hop, which is 200 grams of Challenger, 200 of EKG, and get it in quick. And then just rumble it a couple of times. Super.
Like I had my qualified this year, 1st of April 2025.
Right, here's the Paddington. And first of all, it's a beautiful colour, sort of ambery chestnutty colour, lovely frothing head, nice fine bubbles on the head. So we can smell a little bit of caramelly malts and a little bit of the orangey marmalade-y stuff that we're aiming for. Bit of woodiness as well. Quite a thick, medium to thick-bodied mouthfeel, and you can really feel the warmth of the alcohol in it. But this is, remember, a lot weaker than Paddington 1, so this is Paddington 2, and I'm glad that it reduced the strength. It's come out about 4.8. On the taste, we've definitely got the marmalade, which is exactly what I was aiming for. In Paddington 1, the Chevalier was only 18%, so I was a bit concerned that it wouldn't extract very well, so keep the percentage small. But on this occasion, I've ramped it right up to 38%, and so it's now the largest malt in the beer, because the Marisot is about 28%. So we're aiming to get marmalade from the Chevalier, but also from the hops. It was all EKG before, but which can give you marmaladiness. But Challenger is well known for orangey flavours, so adding Challenger and EKG into the hops has definitely helped with that. So it's not overly bitter. We could probably push the bitterness a bit more. It's quite well balanced. It's easy drinking. Smooth, the head sticking to the glass. It's actually a really nice beer, really pleased with it. Probably could just up the hops a little bit more, could probably just up the dry hop a little bit more as well to just get it up a notch, so perhaps we will do a Paddington 3. But overall, really happy and pleased with this beer, and particularly since it's a recipe that I've made up.
But because there's plenty of skin, you can shape it up quite easily. So we're no. You can't believe how good it was. So
Shall I top your pints up first?
last night we got
Yeah, but we're filming now, though, aren't we?
So you're a bit of a fan of the Paddington now, aren't you, Bigham?
Excellent brew, this Paddington.
And
It's been refined down from 9%
See the wild accusations that get made.
We've gone from 9% to
4.8.
Oh, 4.8.
It's for children.
It's for amateurs.
But before, when it was 5.9, it was just fair
A
diesel.
lot better than it was.
And the other thing that we've done this time, brewed it on the Union set. So this is full Burton tradition, and that's what's made it really smooth.
Far better on the Burton set than before.
Cheers. It's made it smooth and soft and round the edges and dead easy, too easy to drink still,
Yeah.
even at that strong.
Very good. Excellent.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is, can you get any marmalade flavours in it?
You've asked me this question before, Richard, and I must be truthfully honest. No, I can't.
You don't get the marmalade.
No.
I think I get the marmalade in it quite well. It's a lot more than the last
A
one,
little bit, but
but it is subtle.
it's good. It's good. You've done a good job.
And you like a strong beer, and you like a bit of a malty, darker
Yes.
beer as well, don't you?
Yes.
So if anything, I'd be tempted to, for my taste, I would want to up the hopping on this, get it going a bit.
But would that smell more?
Bit
of
more
hoppiness?
bitter. Yeah, because you're a bit frightened of your floweriness.
Yeah, I am. I don't like flowery beer. If I could smell flowery beer, I won't drink flowery beer.
I think it could stand a bit more without going flowery, as you put it, couldn't it?
I think you'd stand a lot more than going
A bit
flowery.
more bitterness, I mean. It would, a little bit more bitterness, and it might make it. Mind you, it is pretty nice, isn't it?
It's very moreish. It's good beer.
So you think we should brew it again then? That's the
Oh
main-
yes, we better brew it again.
Cheers. Keep it at this strength.
Yes, excellent.
Frothy nail.
Unless you change it for the hoppiness,
Don't
we'll
want
have to have a go at it.
don't want to overdo it for you.
No,
do
no,
I? But it is quite well balanced now between
no.
malt and
It
hops,
is.
isn't it?
Excellent. Excellent colour. Excellent head.
I can taste a bit of woodiness as well, like
Good.
slight hedgerowy flavour. Delicious.
You won't be missing out if you come to the Wheatlow Brewery and have a pint of Paddington ale.
Froth. So yeah, overall really pleased with this beer. Definitely brew it again. Definitely just tweak it a little bit to try and up the marmaladiness, and I think up the bitterness a little bit. But yeah, definitely a step in the right direction. And of course, from the Union set, I almost forget that it's been done on the Union set. So maybe that's what's softened the hoppiness. It's made it very round and smooth. So it's just so easy to drink. Look. Very nice beer. So I'm going to finish this off now. Thanks for watching again, and don't forget to let us know in the comments what you think of that, and whether you've ever tried to aim for marmalade in your beer and how you've done it, and let us know as well the kind of similar beers that you've brewed or that you think we should brew in the future. So in the meantime, thanks again, and I'll just say frothy ale. Cheers.